Welcome back to the sewing room. I'm Lara, and this week I want to talk to you about how to win at thread chicken. Now apparently thread chicken is also a food, which I didn't know. Good. I googled it and I was like, oh, that's kind of strange. But for those of you unfamiliar with the phrase, thread chicken is what sewists say when they are basically really afraid of running out and playing chicken with the thread, that kind of crossing your fingers and hoping that you'll have just enough thread to finish the project so you don't have to go out and buy more thread to finish your project, which is no fun. Now, you can avoid thread chicken a couple of different ways. One is by basically sewing everything in always the same color. You can just kind of stock up on that color and be good to go. But when you really want to match and you don't want to run out of thread, here are some guidelines to help you buy the right amount of thread. Now those of you who were watching last video saw me do this. Sorry about the noise. But I do love this little kit of thread colors, because when you really do want to match, or even if you just want to get kind of close to your fabric for matching your thread, having a lot of colors to choose from is a lot better than trying to match through looking at a computer screen and going, oh my gosh, is it this green or that green? Is it more blue or is it more yellow? This is a lot easier, but so these are sometimes sold in kind of kits like this, and sometimes there'll be kind of a general vibe for the kit. There'll be like a bright color kit or all neutrals kit or whatever. And these thread spools are only about 110 yards or 100, I think it's 100 meters, which I basically consider just enough to perfectly match your thread. Or if you're just doing a hem on a garment, like say you have a ready to wear garment or a garment you've had for a while and you need to fix the hem, this is a good amount of thread to have on hand for hems. And for repairs in general, sewing on buttons, fixing patches in garments. But this amount of thread from start to finish on a project is not going to be enough for most garments. Maybe a very simple, not very big garment like an A-line skirt or a really simple top, it could be enough, but for most things you're going to need a little more. Here's that same amount of thread on a different size type of spool. So when you go to the store, you'll see these are kind of the little ones. And again, this is 125 yards or 114 meters. Again, just enough to finish a small project or just make sure that you've got the right thread. But if you're going to do something more serious or big, you want more thread than this. This is the spool size that most people probably consider normal. It is 250 yards or 229 meters. You'll see it's basically twice the size of the little one. And I'll show you a different format for that too. This is a good overall size for one project, one garment, one dress that doesn't have a ton of top stitching and like a million seams, one pair of pants, one, t-shirt. Well, t-shirt's probably fine, but one like, button down shirt. So this is just a really good size to buy just one of if you know you have a project kind of like that and you don't want to run out of thread. This is a good option. Now in my personal collection, my style of thread that goes like this jumps from this basically 100 meters to this guy, which is how many? 1,000 meters or 1,093 yards. Now that's a big jump, that's 10 times. So if you know you're in between, just go in between, just buy two of these and that will get you through most projects. If you have a color that you use a lot, this is a good put up to buy in. It's pretty convenient. The reason you want to buy just enough thread and not just stock up on everything forever is partly the cost. Thread is more expensive than you would think, and you don't necessarily want to spend all of your sewing money on thread. But also thread doesn't last forever. At some point it will get a little bit old, a little bit brittle, and it'll be up for replacement anyway, so you do want to buy just small amounts of the colors you don't use a lot so that they don't end up going to waste. Even bigger jump in size is this guy. Oh, I grabbed the wrong one. Oh, it's so easy to make that mistake. This guy, this is a 5,000 meter put up, and I only buy these in black and white And yeah, that's it. Those are the only two colors I use enough to have such a large amount of. It is very convenient, feeling like I will basically never run out. This does last me, you know, a couple years, sometimes 3 or 4 years. And it's great. It's very easy though to mix them up with this guy. This is serger thread. A cone of serger thread. And I don't know if they tell me how many yards. Oh, 2,743 meters. It's very tempting to buy these and use them as sewing thread because overall they're less expensive than this. They're even sometimes less expensive than this, but it's very, very thin. It's not designed to be used in the same way as sewing machine sewing thread. It's designed to be used in a machine where there are lots of other threads also supporting its efforts. Panning to my serger, which is crooked. Sorry, let me fix that. And adjusting the camera. Voila. And zoom. Sergers do use a lot of thread. They take a lot of thread to get what they need to get done, but each thread can be weaker because there are so many threads involved, so you do want a thinner thread for your serger and thicker thread for most actual sewing on a sewing machine. Now, despite your best efforts, sometimes you do just run out, and when I start to run out, I turn to this fantastic book, which has tons of tips for what to do if you're running out of basically anything. In particular, if you think you are running low on thread, instead of rewinding the bobbin as needed with the matching thread, use whatever color thread you have on hand that's closest in color. Mid-grays and beiges blend well with many colors. We talked about that last time. If you run out of needle thread abruptly, simply remove the bobbin, place it on the spool pin, thread the machine as usual, and substitute another bobbin thread. Sometimes you can combine 2 or 3 colors of thread on an extra spool pin to blend in with the fabric's tones and textures. For example, for a gray tweed, try blending black and off-white threads. I think what she means for that is you want to put that through the needle. The bobbin, obviously you can't use 2 spools. So in this case you're using whatever you can in the bobbin and then maybe blending colors through the needle thread. One of these other things she says I don't love, but I guess if you're really, really in a pinch, you can use a fusible instead of thread. There's also invisible threads, which are basically clear. I don't use those because I don't think that they have very good longevity, and I don't want to have to repair later. I'd rather wait a week for some thread to come in through the mail, or for me to actually make it to the fabric store. So yeah, hope this helps. Have fun sewing, and I'll see you next time.